I stand firmly in the fact that I'm one of the best to ever do this. For the culture, for my coast, and for my city. This is the Best Rapper in LA podcast. And I'm your host, Murs. What up, though? And this is for...
Damn, times done changed. These thugs do what they like. Some of them be on Friendster trying to find a new wife and still hit the block and sling rocks at night. But you could be dead wrong with your pockets right. Contrary to what the legendary Big had to say, you don't have to sell drugs or make the NBA. It's easy to get a grant and get an MBA. To achieve one goal, there's more than one way. Young people on the whole, we have lost our way. I don't care what it costs, I'm not impressed, my nigga. That throwback jersey is a dress, my nigga. I remember diamonds used to be your girl's best friend. Enslaving black children with them third world gems. I don't care about your rims. Kids ride big wheels up until they learn balance. And it's obvious you have it with way more ego than you have true talent. And this is for...
Damn, times done changed. These thugs do what they like. Some of them be on Friendster trying to find a new wife. Friendster was a site, kind of, I guess, like MySpace. I don't even know if I had a Friendster account, but I had heard about it. And I heard about dudes trying to get girls on it. I think probably that's why I wasn't that interested at the time. Some of them be on Friendster trying to find a new wife, still hit the block and sling rocks at night, but you could be dead wrong with your pockets right. Dead Wrong, one of my favorite songs by Biggie.
Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke, gun smoke. Biggie smokes for mayor, the rap slayer, the hooker layer. Motherfucker, say your prayers. Hail Mary, full of grace.
I think it was out in the mixtape era. Then they added Eminem to it when it came out on the deluxe anniversary edition, which was, whoo, man.
The devil worshipping horses, sex, human sacrifices, cannibalism, candles and exorcism, animals having sex with them, camels, mammals and rabbits. But I don't get into that, I kick the habit. I just beat you to death with weapons that eat through the flesh. And I never eat you unless the fucking meat looks fresh. I got a lion in my pocket, I'm lying. I got a 9 in my...
Pre-Machiavelli, I would say Biggie had a better albums than Pac. Machiavelli to me is a better album than both Biggie albums, but they made some of my favorite records, so it's not disrespect. But this is how I lead into that line. So they still be dead wrong with your pockets right. So selling crack is bad. This is me, the beginning of an era of me coming out of the 80s and early 90s where you were a geek if you knew anything about computers, to dudes I knew that were actual killers and drug dealers having accounts on Friendster. Because you could get pussy that way now. This was the beginning of, now thugs are online all the time. You can definitely find some real motherfuckers online. No doubt. But it was still blowing my mind. This is before comic books were hit movies and like all the geek culture that has been shifted and turned on its head now, that is just normal every day. Everybody knows who Black Panther is. Like, you couldn't throw a rock and hit a fan of a Black Panther comic book that knew what the word T'Chaka or T'Challa meant in the 90s. Even before 2010. Namor. Man, come on, bro. Captain America and Superman were the same person to most people. A Commodore 64 and a Tandy or a fucking Toshiba. Like, no one knew about computers. The internet wasn't a place. Chat rooms, thugs weren't in chat rooms. But when you could have a picture and then you could actually meet the girl, bro, I was witnessing this real time. Now it's commonplace, but at the beginning of this shit, nah. Contrary to what the legendary Big had to say, you don't have to sell drugs to get an MBA or join the NBA. Either you're slaying crack rock or got a wicked jump shot. Contrary to what the legendary Big, I want to always make sure to put respect on his name. in everyone's name, because this is rap. It's not that fucking serious. I still can't understand how people come from the fucking streets and see the shit that's going on outside, bro, and bring this shit into a place where we can make actual money and a living and be a blessing to others in our community. What the fuck is wrong, bro? Talk your shit, bro. I had this conversation with many rappers over the years through the pay dues. I am never going to hate on your money. You want to talk shit? Cool. I try not to diss anybody in raps, by name at least. What the fuck is the point, man? See that motherfucker, man. You go write a song, just go see him. And then put it on. Like, yeah, I be such and such ass. But rapping about it before you get to it is, subbing people is like, but still, they're just words. I am going to left turn. Sorry. And I don't have to make this an hour. It's going to be hard. On tour, there was a guy. We were in North Carolina on the Love and Rockets tours. Me, Tabby Benet, Ski Beats, sitting at a table. It's Halloween. There is a man in blackface that comes into it with like foil on his teeth and a dreadlock wig. Two nice-looking younger white women with him, and another guy, a regular preppy college dude with the hat and a fucking full-on polo with the sweater over his shoulders, the khaki shorts, even though it's October, boat shoes, the white guy in college. Apparently this drunk guy is a hanger-on. I'm sure there's like a associate. Nobody wants to be associated with him. You know, he's being a dick. He has fucking blackface on. It's just prime fucking fuel for me and Tabby and Ski Beats to stomp this dude out just on GP. I'm like, nah, I'm not taking the bait. UNC is a very, very, very rich white school. I'm not taking the bait, bro. Not tonight. I got a tour. I got a job. I got a kid. Fuck this. Let it rock. I'm gonna let you rock, bro. Just stay the fuck away from us. So he doesn't even say anything to us. I think he gets maybe shooken when he sees us because he's just going to sit with the girls. And I think maybe the girls and the guy came to sit next to us hoping we'd get him out of there. He goes away. When he goes away, the girl's like, he is not with us. He is not with us. I'm like, cool. None of my business. I'm going to eat this nasty ass. The food is horrible. I didn't care for the food, but it's there for me at night. But I'm grateful it was there. Yeah, and I don't eat meat, so I'm not their target demographic, by the way. He comes back. He flips the guy's hat. Bro, why are you flipping my bill? Don't flip my bill, bro. Yeah, I'll flip your bill. So he flipped his hat off. That was like a real white dude, mark of aggression. Like, where are you from, cuz? Where you from, blood? Fuck you. Like, flip his bill, man. Oh, flip the bill. Dude's like, whatever, man. He took the dude's plate and dumped it on him, bro. Me, Tabby, I just saw what Tabby in Egypt. He didn't remember this, but I remember us bracing like, oh shit, he has to kill this nigga now. He has to for sure kill because of dead. Oh shit, he just threw the food on him. Like, he just had a whole tray of food dumped on him. I told the story so many times in hopes that it will wake up Black and brown youth. The guy said, whatever, bro. I'll just buy another plate. Got in line, dusted himself off the best he could, and bought another plate. The dude didn't know what to do. He just walked out into the night. He walked off into the night. He had tried everything because he's a fucking coward, obviously. But you never give a coward a reason to be brave because they're scared and they're going to react. Whatever insecurities they're fighting has put them in a corner. And they're lashing out in hopes that someone will make them push off that wall and attack. But they really don't want it. He didn't take the bait, and the dude had nothing left to do. Checkmate, motherfucker. I'll just buy a new plate. He looked like a baller to the girls. They didn't have to fight. They're going to have sympathy for him for the rest of the night. Because it was obvious. Like, it wasn't obvious. It was obvious to them, like, he wasn't threatening the girl. Like, he didn't go out like a sucker. He didn't make the girls feel unsafe. It would have been about his ego if he fought the dude. And then somebody would have had a bloody nose, and to most women that's abhorrent, and it wouldn't have went anywhere. But I'm sure he got some good, intimate, smoochy kisses, as the Bluey character says.
Now's your chance for a smoochy kiss.
All right.
Maybe more. Had a nice, intimate evening. Maybe got a back rub of sorts. And no one got shot. No one went to jail. It was amazing to me. It was a jaw-dropping moment. You can always buy another plate, bro. You can always buy another plate. To achieve one goal, it's easy to get a grant and get an MBA. To achieve one goal, there's more than one way. Young people on the whole, we have lost our way. This is me like knowing my fan base isn't black, so I'm not trying to say, but really it's to black people, but even some, non-black Americans with privileged, let's say it's privileged Americans, black, white, whatever, that are obsessed with money, To achieve one goal, there's more than one way. Young people on the whole, we have lost our way. I was listening to a sermon coming back from my run where I fell Sunday morning, listened to a sermon on the way there, shout out to KJLH. And the man was saying just like he saw a person with a shirt that said, I am my ancestors' wildest dream. And he said he felt three ways. He loved it, and then he felt ashamed because like some of us are not. Harriet Tubman led motherfuckers through the swamps in the middle of the night so that you could get on a microphone and say, so that you can stand on a street corner and do? Nah, they would be crushed. People used to stop telling you stop using the N-word because of our ancestors, and I saw my great-grandmother call my great-grandfather a nigga a lot. That skinny nigga, like, my great-grandmother did not care for white people. My great-grandfather was very tolerant and accepting for someone born in 1908. My great-grandmother was like, her sisters, my great-grandfather had to go free her sisters, like pull up in his pickup truck and sneak her in the back and drive her off of someone's property. So my great-grandmother was a little bit more harsh. She'd get them crackers off my porch. She did not play. Sorry if that word offends anyone. But that was just me quoting something. Yeah, but she used nigga, and I feel with her sense of humor, she may have gotten a kick out of how many white people want to use the N-word, but we'll get there. But yeah, are we our ancestors' wildest dreams? Some of us are. Some of us are our ancestors' most horrific nightmare. To achieve one goal, which is financial freedom or financial freedom, there's more than one way. I don't care what it costs. I'm not impressed, my nigga. That throwback jersey is a dress, my nigga. I remember diamonds used to be a girl's best friend. Enslaving black children within third world gyms. I don't care about your rims. Kids ride big wheels up until they learn balance. And it's obvious you haven't, with way more ego than you have true talent. And this is for. You know who it's for, not for? Which I just recently, so I've been running back to this marathon because I'm trying to get y'all to donate. I got to get to this $5,000 goal at least. But I've been running, and one of my favorite rap songs of all time and one of my favorite rappers of all time is Lil Wayne. BMJR, Birdman Jr., that song is one of the best raps ever.
Only key to survive is kill. If the elements don't murder you, the riders will for real. And niggas know I go hard to the fullest. Get involved and I got them playing dodgeball with bullets. Yeah, I got the sawed off fully in the Sean John hoodie. Get fuck you play pussy. We hit them up while they looking in the body shop.
Like on the level of corrupt and like just mainstream people who have platinum records that could still rap their ass off. Lil Wayne is the one in that category. Just like ferocious, like raps. Like Hove is one of the greatest. M is one of the greatest. Like, just like people just like, if you're going to have that debate, like Eminem has hungry raps on the level of Birdman Jr., but he doesn't have club records on the level of Lil Wayne. Hove has club records and street records on the level of Wayne, but he doesn't have, like, Hove is not ferocious. He's too cool to be ferocious, and that's cool. I'm just not comparing them. But, like, I come from that 316, that song on this album, like, I'm rapping. Like, when I get in, like, I like LL Cool J. I like Run. I like people who put some on it, Sticky Fingers, like, I'm not a Nas, Rakim school. I'm not a cool rapper school. Even though I respect it, that's not where my heart is. So Wayne, Birdman, man. So I'm jogging and I've heard this song so many times, and now like when and then your brain clicks off at a certain point in time, like around 7 mile, 8 mile, like I just clock out and I start hearing these songs in a different way. I got 80 something songs. I got 5 hours and 40 minutes worth of music because that's how I want to finish the marathon in that time. It's not beautiful, but it'll be a miracle. And I hear this line for the first time. I have heard this song since the album dropped hundreds of times. I almost know it by heart. But people say that I am a kid still, 'cause the little niggas still ride on big wheels. You feel an animal that come on and get killed.
And people say that I am a kid still, 'cause the little niggas still ride on big wheels. You feel an animal that come on and get killed. A sick pill bandanas like...
It hit me about a month ago during my run. Now, if you fast forward from this album, this was big. Like after this drop, DJ Drama called me. My life starts changing after this record, especially in the black community. Like the BET Uncut, and then working with Ninth Wonder and Knife doing all the things he did, and Little Brother doing like this put me in some conversations in my name in rooms, premieres, knowing who I am now. After this, the Little Brothers do the Get Back, and Wayne's on it.
Word up, I say I don't have nothing if I don't have you. Like Sade, you got the sweetest taboo, and my game is skin deep like the first tattoo. I get all in your head just like shampoo. I just wanna fuck with you like rude polices. I don't want a broken heart because I lose the pieces. Hey, girl, don't play with my gangster and have the boy blue like a Texas Ranger.
And I don't know the truth. I've heard rumors, not from anybody in the group, nor Ninth Wonder, but what I hear is that to get Wayne to be on the album, Wayne wanted to rap on a Ninth Wonder beat. For Wayne to be aware of Ninth Wonder means he had to have heard some Ninth Wonder production, possibly my album. Now, why do I think this was directed at me? Because he said, I don't care about your rim. Kids ride big wheels up until they learn balance. And it's obvious you haven't, with way more ego than you have true talent.
And people say that I am a kid still, 'cause the little niggas still ride on big wheels. You feel an animal, then come on and get killed. A sick pill bandanas like bananas.
Backpackers love to take shots at gangster rappers. I am not one of those backpackers. I am from the inner city. I love gangster rap. But more than I love conscious rap. I know more E40 songs than any human being alive. Dub C. Like, this is the stuff I grew up on. It's the stuff I'm listening to while I'm making this album. I've never heard the Black Star album. After the second Roots album, I know 2 songs. No disrespect to them, but that's not my thing. That's, I keep familiar with hip hop, but it's not my passion. My passion is gangster rap because that's my environment. It's what I grew up in. It's what I relate to. I'm a black man from inner city Los Angeles, man. So it wasn't a shot at Wayne. I take shots at gangsters who couldn't rap, trying to rap. If you can rap or your story's authentic, I feel like you should get it off. But this was when rap was getting to a point where there are certain people making garbage music with no substance that were, I don't want to say names, but I think if you know, these were the people that I was talking about, like fucking up the game. If you can't be dope and pretend, you're just going to pretend and not be dope, that's not okay. If you're going to tell your story and you're not as skilled, okay. If you are really a drug dealer, I don't expect 50 to have the bars of A$AP Rock.
We only humans, girl, we make mistakes. To make it up, I do whatever it takes. I love you like a fat kid love cake. You know my style, I say anything to make you smile.
Technology, focus on the other shit. 3D printed body parts, dehydrated onion dip. You could buy a jet ski from a cell phone on a jumbo jet. TECHNOLOGY, it's the ultimate.
He didn't have the access to those books and that opportunity. But he had an authentic experience that he was able to translate. Then once he got on, he started putting like-minded individuals and giving opportunities to many people that come from the same circumstances. I'm for that. I'm not here to analyze 50 Cent's lyrics, but I respect his authenticity. there were people who were seeing rap as a lick if they're black, and I thought a lot of black kids. It was like black kids that went to private schools that were really from privilege or from well-to-do parents that felt like to be black to their white friends they had to be thugs. This is who that line was for. It was not for Wayne. Why do I think Wayne was talking about it? Because he says, people say that I'm a kid still, because the little nigga still rides on big wheels. The next song after this is what song? The Animal. You feel an animal, then come on and get killed. I don't want Lil Wayne to kill me. I'm like the biggest Lil Wayne fan. I literally had every Hot Boys album and every Wayne album up until they didn't sell physicals anymore. I think I had only time I fell off a Lil Wayne was No Ceilings, because I was telling y'all I couldn't keep up with mixtapes because I'm on the road. So when that hit me, I was like, I hope that young man didn't think that was directed at him. He's in my top 5. It's him or Juvie, depending on the day. E40, Ice Cube, LL Cool J, Q-Tip or Jay-Z, Lil Wayne or Juvie. I'm not making any decisions. That's my top 5. LL, Cube, E40, stay. But I have tremendous respect. So I'm like, and this is me rapping, not thinking Lil Wayne is gonna hear my raps. And maybe he still hasn't, but when it hit me the other day, I was like, fuck. That could have been bad for me or not. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that could have been a fight or a situation I had to diffuse or deal with. Cause this man thinks that, oh no, man, like I think poor gangster rap, the pretenders fuck it up for Wayne. And people who I don't know what Wayne's story is. Some people say he's fake. Some people say he's real. I don't know. What I do know is that he can really rap. And he's a person he could really skate better than me. He's somebody that just went all the way in. Those are things I respect about him that I can say I know about him because I've seen the evidence. I don't know what kind of father he is. I don't know what kind of businessman he is, label owner, what kind of blood he is. I don't know none of that. So I wasn't taking shots at him, but I felt like maybe he thought I was with that. It was, wow, this album, for me in my mind, and I could be wrong, but okay, Drake has heard this album, Cole has heard this album, Kendrick's heard this album, now Wayne has heard this album. This album was more important than I thought it was. And maybe it's all not true, but the possibility exists. But at this point, I'm not thinking about any of this. Back to the song. And I will say this, I've always tried to not disrespect any black man in public by name. If you are black and you slander other black men, I don't know where you get that from, unless you really have to. You know what it's like to be a black person in America. Why would you make it harder for another black man? Pull him to the side. I just don't see it in other communities, in the Chicano community or in the Jewish community, in the Egyptian community, or in America, what I mean. In America's challenge. When you're in America, when you're in a group of like-minded people and everybody's calling everybody out, cool. But when you know that you're at a disadvantage because of the color of your skin in this country, and you choose to throw another hurdle in front of a black man or a black human or a person of color or just anyone that's a minority or that's come on, bro. That's how I feel. That's just my feeling. And once again, since I don't like to disagree with black folk in particular, I'm not going to disagree with you, bro. Do your thing. But behind closed doors, I'll let you know. By name. This behavior needs to be addressed. To me, the celebration of thug life and blah, 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 and me naming names isn't, to me, going to make people change more. It's only going to hurt. I wanted to make this song to encourage and criticize both sides. There's no chorus to this. And this is for, and I'm going to say, the pimps and the hustlers, the whites and the blacks and the blah, blah, blah. And this is for the us and the fronts and the front and the people in the front and the right to the back. And I was like, shut your ass up.
And this is for...
Once again, I spent all night writing something and this motherfucker's like, nah, just let it. Ooh. I was mad as fuck, but he was right. He was right. This is the slaps, and it did not need my black ass saying nothing in the chorus. Just
and this is for
fire.
Anyone white boy who thinks he knows my struggle cause he listens to Pac and his adrenaline doubles. Now I ain't got problems with you being yourself, but when you front and use the N-word, it just don't help. I might not trip and your friends will laugh at you, but I know some real niggas that'll straight up slap you. Now you could be down, but let's act rolled up, cause we ain't the same color when police show up. My culture's not a trend, being black is not in, but for you it's just a phase you're gonna have to transcend. While even if I tried, I could never blend into society's mainstream American dream. Yeah, it's all one love, but remember one thing, this music is my life, not a cultural fling. It's an expression of the soul when we dance and sing, and you are blessed to have a chance to even glance the scene. And this is for
any white boy who thinks he knows my struggle because he listens to Pac and his adrenaline doubles. Now, I ain't got trouble with you being yourself, but when you front use your N-word, the shit don't help. I might not trip, and your boys will laugh at you, but I know some real niggas that'll straight up slap you. There are people I'm meeting as I travel. New York was one of those places. I was outside of SOBs. I don't know if it's been said here, but this is one of the few rites of passages. I remember being with my my native homegirl on her land, and she was showing me a mountain, like a what's it called? Like just a one piece of rock, a huge I can't think of a monolith that men in her tribe would climb. And if you didn't do it the right way, like some people came down and they were never the same, blah, 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 like it was real. And we don't have many things like that. And I'm stretching it, but I feel like SOBs is one of those places, whether it's me, whether it's Kendrick, whether it's Pharaoh, whether it's Cole, whether it's Big Sean, whether it's Stat Quo, whether it's Cannabis, I feel like we've all done SOBs.
I love New York. It's like my second home. Just vibe out. Sitting in the studio thinking about what's more we go. Right now, freestyle, I write down whatever. It's gonna come up clever. I just need to free my thoughts, and Lord knows that I know better.
If you are to be respected in this culture, you have had to do a show at SOBs. And it's not saying you're not if you haven't, but I just feel like it's something we've all been to. It's a club where there's no backstage. It's New York City. It's the birthplace of hip hop. It's you're right up in the crowd's face. Like there's no barriers. It's not Webster Hall. It's not, because that's the next step. You know, it's not Bowery Ballroom, but doing SOBs. It used to be, I think, was it Wetlands? Like Wetlands, SOBs, but SOB has stood the test of time. I don't know, Sounds of Brazil. I don't know who owns it or whatever, but there needs to be a documentary about that place, or maybe there is, but God bless them.
Probably did, because niggas, because even when you were saying SOs, I wasn't even thinking club SOs. I'm thinking SOBs, because niggas do call SOBs SOs. Like, you know, just for short. But there is a club SOs too. Well, they got to cut that.
But yeah, I was coming out of SOBs, one of my first New York shows, and a white dude came up to me like, "Oh, yo, what's up, my nigga? You was mad nice." And I think someone grabbed me. Was it Poison Pen or Guy and Gaston? They listened to the podcast. Shout out to Guy and Gaston. One of my New York, like, Pumpkinhead, like, somebody had to explain it. Rest in peace to PH. God bless him. And, like, grabbed me, like, yo, chill. I'm like, what you say to me? Like, I had never in my life seen something like that. And then he was with it. He was like, "Hey, let him go. What's up? I'm for 40 projects with blah, blah, blah. Prince Poe, that's my nigga, blah, blah, blah." And I had never met a white person that lived in the projects, but there are, like, Eastern European families that get settled in the projects in New York. And, you know, people start educating me. I'm like, okay, or he could be Latino. And it's just different politic, man. And yeah, that's the difference between Britain and the Czech Republic. America is just one country where we happen to speak the same language, but as far as distance and cultures, like, it's a very different culture. And I'm just, people of color were telling me to chill. I chilled. But there are also people, and once I, you know, maybe his story is authentic, you know, like, I just had to learn and navigate that, but it pissed me off When you think that because we ain't the same color when police show up. You know what I'm saying? You could be down, but let's act growed up. We ain't the same color when police show up. Man, there's so much to break down in these lines. I went to a meeting at CAA in LA the other day for foster youth. By the way, the county of Los Angeles has more foster youth than any state, than any country on earth. If you have the ability to foster, I have 4 boys under my house. One of them is adopted. I cannot at this point. But if you have the ability to, as I tell people all the time, like when you get a child that you love and you're really like, try it. Yeah. Anyway, CAA is an agency. I think that's what it is. I've never been in because I've been with Wasserman or Paradigm for years now. Never been in there. Booked lots of artists. They were really kind to me. They hosted this thing where they're trying to get bigger corporations in the entertainment industry to recognize foster parents as just to get the same rights and time off and support that other parents receive. And all of Netflix, everybody was tremendous with the things they're doing. So if you haven't met with your HR or whatever, you work for one of those companies, see what type of benefits and assistance are available to you for adoption and fostering. It's needed. Shout out to Julie from FYI who invited me to the meeting and is also a foster parent. That building used to be a movie theater. We went to see X-Files when I was a kid. And there was another kid in there. And there's a white kid who's in a more ritzy part of LA.
It's mutated. Into what?
I can't tell you what killed this man. I'm not sure anybody else could claim to either.
These men have been secretly negotiating a planned Armageddon.
And you have conclusive evidence of this? Yes.
Yeah. White kid said nigga, something like it was uncalled for. It was like, oh nigga, like because the screen went black. Oh nigga. Bro, I got up, I walked over, I stood over that white kid, I smacked the shit out of him. I said, don't you ever, bro. Never. So when I say this, and then I evolved and I saw I was wrong, like I was at Jerry's Deli in the Valley. And I was with this Nigerian sister and we were going to get some food. And he said, you, that black nigger bitch, something. And I learned I didn't want to assault him. So then I just spit on him. But I learned that that's assault as well. All these things I learned from personal interaction with the police, from spitting on, slapping. I've evolved. It's a word. It's a fucking word. So by this time, I think I hadn't evolved. I've evolved past slapping, and then I slowly evolved when I found out spitting is also assault. I was the one trying to calm down my friends. I was the one vouching for Kid Rock. Like, yo, he's adopted a black kid. Like, let him slide. He has a song where he says, he's talking about a black girl he was dating in high school. He goes on tour. You know, I was like, he's been on tour. He was on opening for Ice Cube in the Death Certificate era. That's where Kid Rock come from. Going into projects to make music. I've heard all these stories. I don't know if they're true. But I love Only God Knows Why.
Maybe I forgot all the things I miss. Oh, somehow I know there's more to life than this.
And so I got into his music, and then I was playing it for my homeboy, and Terry was like, nah. Because he's like, yeah, he's telling a story of this girl, and he's like, he was on tour, and she got knocked up by this dope dealing nigga. And I was like, But he ends up, the kid is 100%, I believe 100% black. And he adopted the kid anyway, and took the girl back. So I was like, you do that? I'm going to give you one N-word, Kid Rock, when you're telling your story. And within context, I'm going to let you live. I try to not get mad.
Now as time went on, the two kept on. They kept seeing each other off and on. See, she moved moved to the city and you know what happened. Black chick with a real white accent. Pretty girl in the ghetto, go figure. Yeah, she got macked by some dope dealing nigga.
I was wrong. Terry was right. Who knew that fucking Kid Rock would go off the rails and become fucking a ridiculous Republican idiot?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special announcement from the 45th President of the United States of America.
Hello, everyone. I love you all. I know you're having a great time at the Kid Rock concert tonight. Quite frankly, he's amazing. All of you in attendance are the true backbone of our great country. Hardworking, God-fearing, rock and roll patriots. Bob is truly one of the greatest entertainers of our time. Let's all continue to love one another, fight for our God-given freedoms, and most of all, let's make America rock again.
I have a Kid Rock story that I won't share out of respect for someone, but he was a dick to somebody really close to me, and he was very lucky that this person didn't light up his life. Oh, man. And I saw it, and it was, shout out to my homie giving him a pass. We could have turned that whole party out. Fuck him. From that interaction, I forgot I had a personal. I don't like to cancel people over words and whatever. We could have a conversation, but he was a dick. So fuck him. I don't want to cancel him or none of that shit, but fuck him. But only God knows why it still slaps. Devil without a cause is still slaps. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's an asshole with some good music. And that's a fun fuck him, okay, guys? Before you blast us all over the internet. Hi, Bob Ritchie. So I know some real niggas that will straight slap you. I was one, and then everyone else I know still is one. I try not to physically assault people over words. Now you could be down with us. I growed up. We ain't the same color when police show up. Learn that one too. Being in Living Legends, let the white guys drive. Going on tour, you put the white guys in the front seat. Black rappers don't sit in the front seat when you're going through any part of America, but definitely middle America. Things you have to learn. My culture's not a trend. This is when I was giving myself props on this one because the beat slap and I had a little cadence going. Like, my culture's not a trend. Being black is not in, but for you, it's just a phase you're gonna have to transcend. While even if I tried, I could never blend into society's mainstream American dream. Yes, all one love, but remember one thing. This music is my life, not a cultural fling. It's an expression of the soul when we dance and sing, and you are blessed to have a chance to even glance the scene, and this is for. I rap my ass off on that one, y'all. No, I'm not. I don't think I've said that much in these 30 episodes, but my motherfuckers got to give me mine for that. Yeah. I think that's all pretty self-explanatory. My culture is not a trend. My mom told me this about early on when I used to have white friends that I thought were down. And she was like, yeah, Nicholas, when they get tired of hip hop or when they grow up, they always have the option of going back to being white. They could always fall back on their privilege. We talk often in this podcast about rap not being a viable opportunity. They're like, you are out here living check to check, blah, blah, blah. Even this is also when she wasn't really supportive of my career. Like, I was cut off. I wasn't being able to borrow no money. My mama didn't press tape. She didn't buy no studio time. She didn't do none of that. She was like, you're out here playing for keeps. And these motherfuckers, they could just go back and be white. And I watched as the white fans gravitated towards Grouch and Eli. I watched as I would stand at the merch booth all night and Eli would be off getting high. Grouch would be off trying to get laid. And they would still triple my merch sales, even though I stood and took every picture and signed every CD. It's going to get tricky. I'm just going to bite the bullet and, stuff I didn't want to talk about to the end of my career. But it's just like you look at my social media numbers and you look at that, then you look at the touring numbers and they don't match up. It's weird, it's something I started seeing at this time. And I'm like, oh, okay. you guys we'll get into it later. But this is more for the people who thought I've seen that we're down. But yeah, I've seen people just leave hip hop and go straight, get amazing jobs. That isn't an option for me, or wasn't an option for me. I couldn't do that as easily. I believe I can do anything I put my mind to. But yeah, it was a trip to see some people fall in and out of hip hop. And God bless you for having that choice. This is it. It's in me. It's not on me. To quote Nipsey and many other people, but Nipsey is the most famous for saying that. And yeah, go donate to the run. Even if I tried, I could never blend in. It's all one love. But remember one thing, this is also to, for me, I had dreads before this. Like I've always had Rasta, like watching the Reggae Fest at UCLA and watching how reggae has been co-opted by white America. So that's what it's all one love. As the movie One Love is out, I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. My kid started crying, so I took him while my wife finished the movie. It's all one love. But remember one thing, this music is my life. Life. You know what I mean? Like, so many, I don't know any of these, I don't want to speak, because I don't think a lot of these Rastas are fond of me. But like when you see Sizzla, like you hear of Capleton, how they have communities or maybe communes with the most respectful name, like they're living off the land. They are Rasta for real. A lot of these American Rasta, Trustafarians, as some say, bands, like, what are you doing with the money, bro? Are you living off the land like His Imperial Majesty wanted, or like for me, like to me, the true Rasta, and I get really loose with Rasta. I try to be loose because a lot of people judge me based on the traditional guidelines of Rasta. But have you been to Shashamani? There are other people living in Shashamani in Ethiopia, the land that His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie left for Rasta. It's not just something you get high and you dance to or you sing. Have you, this music is same thing with hip hop. This music is my life, not a cultural fling. It's an expression of the soul when we dance and sing. Your ancestors or when you go back to Dutch music, it doesn't sound like hip hop. When we pull up these videos and documentation of African culture, it sounds, they're breakdancing, crip walking, all of it is Africa still coming through us. You are a guest. And that's for better or worse, because you can always leave. We can't leave this shit. So if you're going to come in and be a guest, act accordingly.
Man, I do the same music. They stop coming to shows. It's like they scared of the white boys in the front row. First I was like, so I'ma get my dough, but the numbers kept falling as my fan base would grow. And now I'm concerned, so I gotta speak up. First the money was the only thing shutting me up, but now I don't care. Don't support me, get mad. Why wouldn't you abort me? My own people have. I feel I should have the scans white rappers have. It's sad, but that's the way it is. What's the reason that my album doesn't sell like his? And don't front like you don't know why the hell that is. It's because he's white. You can relate to his face. Through the years you've been taught that black is unsafe. Plus it's only natural for your own to be embraced. Conscious or subconscious, you can't say that ain't the case. Only reason it took so long to take place was up until now your only choice was third base. For others like Ice wasn't really that tight. Now you got some white dudes who can truly rock the mic. You relate to their stories cause you share that past. Question is, why would you listen to Murs' black ass? I asked myself for a while, but now I finally get it. Good music transcends all physical limits. It's more than something that you hear. It's something that you feel when the author and experience and passion is real. Used to feel I should be silent. I was scared to do this song, but I want everyone aware of what is going on. Yes, it is jazz, and yes, it is the blues, and yes, it is the exact same way they did rock, but I refuse to watch the same thing happen to hip-hop. I refuse to watch that bullshit. And this is for...
Man, I do the same music. They stop coming to shows. It's like they scared of these white boys in the front row. First I was like, so? I'm going to get my dough. But the number kept falling as my fan base would grow. We started out La Pena. They're still a not-for-profit operating in Berkeley. I just made a small donation to them. Shout out to them. Underground Survivors was a weekly open mic that Mystic Journeyman put on in Berkeley. And there were a lot of African-American college co-eds that went to these shows. There were lots of black folks at this show. White people were the minority in Underground Survivors. This is where Living Legends started back in 1996. I don't know when they started doing Underground Survivors, but the La Pena Cultural Center on Shattuck.
Put your hands up if you like what you hear. Like this, y'all. You might think everything was cool, but we found what's going wrong. I climbed into the back of this fortress with long cool rap doors and all these doors.
I didn't know that hip-hop, like at the Roots show, you go to a Fuji show, we were all going to Goody Mob shows, like Hyro shows, there were De La shows, there were still black people. Predominantly black crowds. When I go to Unity, these underground hip-hop clubs, when I went to Unity got a little more brown, a lot more brown after I moved back from the Bay, but it wasn't predominantly white. You do Unity now, it would be predominantly with the same aesthetic, playing the same records, you would get a different looking crowd. So I'm processing, once again, this is all this shit I'm processing. Shout out to Satire, just spoke to him, and I will put this other feather in my cap. There's not a lot of songs about nothing on these records, and especially this one. I think this is around the time I read the Rolling Stone, like greatest 500 songs of all time, and it was like very few hip hop songs. And all the songs in general are usually about love. And I was realizing, like, man, hip hop doesn't make love songs. Love is timeless. Walk Like a Man, Freak These Tales. Like, I have a concept on every song, but it's not like hard to grasp, obscure, and not fun. I try to put a hook. And ninth is making sure the beats are slapping, so it's like a balance, man. But I'm not just rapping for rap's sake anymore. And my friend just made me aware, like, I was like, man, maybe I need therapy. He's like, man, you've been processing your music in front of all of us. I mean, your life in front of all of us for so many years. And I think that's why it's so personal that it isn't mainstreamable. My mother even critiqued that. If you were a little less specific, but this is my therapy, it has been. And as I haven't written a rap in over, almost a year, coming up on a year, this is what this becomes. And I actually have a therapist, kind of life coach now. So taking care of myself, it's still a rough transition. Anyway, I do the same music. They stopped coming to shows, like they scared of the white boys in the front row. After I made this album, I started dating. Dating a little bit, and one girl came to the house and she was like, well, you only like white girls anyway. And I was like, what the fuck? I had only been intimate with one white woman at that point in my life. I was like, I was adamantly opposed to sleeping with white women. And this is the reputation I have now because of what this scene has become. And I had no part in that. I just went out and played shows and try to stay off of the block. Now you understand, like, Walk Like a Man. All these things are happening, and the slug is like, yo, you want to come and rap for $75 a night? Yes, motherfucker. Yeah. Do you know what's going on at my house? I'm out of here, bro. Fuck you mean? I just went to jail for pissing in public. And I was in there with some motherfuckers that I do not want those problems at all. I am not built like that. Get me the fuck out of here. Because I know at this point, I don't have control over my mouth or the discipline to not hang out in places I shouldn't be or go out. Like, I'm still going to the Sloss and I need to be away as much as possible. And during that time, I created a scene of white fans that love me. And just like I don't judge you for selling crack, like the motherfuckers, don't judge me. Because I rap for everybody. If the white people show up, they show up. I'm not for them using the N-word or getting super comfortable with me in ways where they feel like when you're a guest in this house, that means you can't tell us how to move around the furniture. Especially as a white American, your house is a fucking mess too. and it's fucking up my house. You're bringing down my property. You're making, I can't focus on cleaning my house because of the shit that's coming out of your fucking house. It's fucking up my front yard. So before you tell me what's wrong with Black America, motherfucker, go check in with your uncle in the MAGA hat.
They shafted my president. They would have had the vaccine, already had it, but they wouldn't give it to him because they knew damn good and well he'd be reelected. There wasn't nothing nobody could do. So they had to swindle around and skin around and keep it from him just as soon as the election was over. Here, we got it. You shafted my president. I ain't taking your medicine.
Go to your corner and fuck with your people, man. I'm making songs like this for them. You know what? And we can meet in amongst our mess and be Americans. But what you're not gonna do is rearrange the furniture in my house. And hip hop is my house. Let's not get that twisted. And when I say mine, I mean us. Black and brown Americans. I do not like the way Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, Haitians, or anyone else, Jamaicans, are excluded from that conversation. Any Afro-Latino peoples. They were there at the beginning, the very beginning, since its inception, as far as I know. But well, yeah, so you're not going to come over here and tell us what to do. Fuck out of here. Can you appreciate it? Yeah, I like skateboarding. I like fucking snowboard. Yeah. I like baseball. Fucking love the Dodgers, man. What the fuck? Like, I like NASCAR. All this shit. But I'm not about to come and try to change the culture of their shit or tell you what's wrong with it. You know, that would be an insult to your intelligence. There are some ignorant people on both sides that need to be educated, but I feel by people who understand their path. It doesn't matter the color of skin, but if you don't understand someone's struggle, I can't go to Billy Bob and be like, hey man, if we had electric cars and NASCAR, that'd be so much better for the environment. Blah. Nah, bro. You talk to that motherfucker. That's your people's, man. Go, handle that. Like, that's what something else gang culture taught me. Like, your people's out, like my homies that are still involved in the streets, they say they will make a call. Hey, look, this little dude from our set came over there, that we got it. Our bad. Like, can we handle that? And they will handle it. Or can y'all handle that over there? It's messy when you cross lines, bro. So I'm gonna start sound fan. Now I'm concerned, so I gotta speak up. And I'm not just speaking up. I went and I could have done an album all produced by LP. Cold Vein, one of the best rap albums ever made. Produced by LP. He's my friend. He produces Run the Jewels. He's great. I knew he was great back then. He could have done the whole record. But I went to Ninth because I was concerned about the lack of black people listening to my music. Because I love my people. Now I'm concerned, so I gotta speak up. First, the money was the only thing shutting me up. But now I don't care. Don't support me. Get mad. Why wouldn't you abort me? My own people have. I feel I should have the scans white rappers have. It's sad, but that's the way it is. What's the reason that my album doesn't sell like his? And don't front like you don't know why the hell that is. It's because he's white. You relate to his face. Through the years, you've been taught that black is unsafe. Plus, it's only natural for your own to be embraced. Conscious of subconscious, you can't say that ain't the case. The only reason it took so long to take place was up until now, your only choice was third base. The others like Ice wasn't really that tight. Now you got some white dudes who could truly rock the mic. You relate to their story because you share their past. Question is why you listen to my black ass. I asked myself for a while. Now I finally get it. Good music transcends all physical limits. It's more than something that you hear. It's something that you feel when the author and experience and passion is real. Used to feel I should be silent. I was scared to do this song. But I want all of y'all aware of what is going on. Yes, it is jazz. Yes, it is the blues. Yes, it's the exact same way they did rock. But I refuse to watch the bullshit happen in hip-hop. I refuse to watch this. I was trying to say it one more time. I flubbed the line and Knife blessed me with I refuse to watch this bullshit. One thing he fixed for me. Yeah, man. And it's happening anyway. And it's happening fucking anyway. Race is a real touchy subject in America and still within hip-hop culture. The message behind this song has been misconstrued, and the white people that I met that get offended in the comments, or some people have come to me, told me like I was a fan until I heard that song or until you performed that song. I just let it go. Take it how you feel it has always been my my motto. So I'm going to keep saying what's on my mind. I did this song 1 year South by Southwest. I had gotten so frustrated. It's before the song came out. I was supposed to do a set at Emo's. I believe it was a Rhyme Series showcase. I just got up and did this song and stormed off stage. Like with my shirt off, I was mad.
Any white boy who thinks he knows my struggle cause he listens to Tupac and his adrenaline double. Now I ain't got problems with you being yourself, but when you front use the N-word, that just don't help. I might not trip, and your boys will laugh at you, but I know some real niggas that'll straight up slap you. And you can be down, but let's act grown up. We ain't the same color when police show up. My culture's not a trend, being black is not in, but for you it's just the things you're gonna have to transcend. Well, even if I tried, I could never blend in. Society's mainstream, American dream. Yeah, it's all one love, but remember one thing. It's expression of the soul when we dance and sing.
It was just a hard thing for me to see, is because it was right after we did God Loves Ugly, and then we did Warped Tour during the summer, and we did like spot dates for to support the Warped Tour, because Warped Tour we weren't making a lot of money. Sean wasn't making a lot of money, so we did different states that weren't in violation of the radius clause. When you do shows, there's a radius clause. You can't do a show 30 days before or 30 days after within 90 minutes or 90 miles of the venue or something like that. So we would find the sweet spots. A lot of groups on bands on Warped Tour do. I'm not criticizing Warped Tour. I think it's how they keep ticket prices low. Everything. I think it's a perfect format. So we would do these shows to get supplemental income. So we did different markets. If I start talking about one of the markets, I'm going to go off on a tangent. But you guys heard a little bit about the New Mexico story. So we did New Mexico. And shout out to Thomas there. And the promoter's a friend. He's been doing stuff for years. And we did a pack show, then came back to do, I'm sorry, no, this wasn't Warped. This is God Loves Ugly. Holy moly, I think. It was before the horrible night, because it was so the guy told me, we did a pack night on God Loves Ugly. We had felt. Everybody there saw me perform. People there, we had done that venue a couple times, packed with Living Legends and Hyro, and we came back. I came back 6 months later when I dropped Into the Beginning, I believe. And there were like a third of the people there. And I was like, what the fuck? And maybe less than a third. It was pretty empty. It's a huge building. And the promoter knows I did a good show with Sean. Sean sees he's a promoter. He does this for a living. He still does, I think. He's like, okay, these people like Murs too. Cool. Atmosphere was coming on another tour 3 months later. Oh, I think it was the Warped Tour show that was coming. So I was on the Warped Tour show that was coming. It had just been pre-sale, and I hadn't been announced on the bill. But the pre-sale, 3 months in advance, the tickets went on sale I think the day before my show that night. I'm hoping this makes sense to you guys. We did a show about 6 months before. It was sold out. I came back 6 months later on my own run after I dropped Into the Beginning. And the Slug show that had just gone on sale a couple days before, my show was happening. I'm at my show. I'm in the back after my show. I'm like, what happened to the promoter? I think it's before I go on stage. He's like, pull me to the side. And he's like, Slug sold more tickets basically in 2 days than you sold tonight. I was like, how is that possible? It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I thought, God Loves Ugly, I went from opening for Sean to just doing a set with Sean, to doing a set with Slug. He was kind enough to let me be his hype man and do songs. And we did felt songs. We did Aneurysm. We did Hot Bars. I did Murs was like, it was like a combined set.
Now here I stand at the threshold of anger, a pathway to which I am no stranger. Danger lurks the other side. Once I cross, I black out and I start to act out. Act my age, act my color, act a fool, acting other than myself in a way. Quick to the shelf and dusted off the AK. At war for no reason. America's demon now residing. Hiding the beast underneath an inch of flesh and skull. If the brain vein pops, might become a vegetable. So I take the stress and pull hard on a cigarette, thinking that an aneurysm might just be a quicker death. I flick the red and keep it set.
So I'm like, I got promoted with my homie. He brought me up to this level. Everyone's feeling. It's not like when I did songs during Sean's set, everyone would go quiet. People loved those songs too. I was selling lots of merch. I felt like I was making new fans. Maybe he was making new fans and we were doing something. I was definitely making more new fans. He had a larger following at that point. He was like starting to edge away from everyone. But still, there were people at that time who were hearing of Atmosphere because of me and my affiliation with Living Legends and whatever. The West Coast kids were getting hip to Atmosphere through me and various other collaborations. Why is he outselling me? And then that whole tour, I just saw markets where, you know, that was like, when I'm with Slug, I do this room. And it still exists now. When I do shows with Grouch in Salt Lake City, we do a 500-person venue. I do a 200-person venue. However, if you look at my Instagram followers or my Spotify monthly listeners, like, I have more, you know, I just don't have them in these spaces, or they don't come out. And it flabbergasts me when people will be like, yeah, why don't you, like, after I'm on tour of the Grouch and they go, why don't you even come to Salt Lake? So I was like, motherfucker, I've been coming to Salt Lake almost every year. You just don't care to stay in touch with my music. And why that is up to you. Because it's not that you don't like my music. You're obviously asking me, why don't I come back more? You are more in tune with what Grouch is doing because, and it's okay. It's only natural for your own to be embraced. This was part of me trying not to be mad about it. And now I'm definitely there. I just have an understanding of it. But I would love it if people would look at, when you say your top 5 rappers and they're all white in a culture where white rappers aren't even the half of the populace or the artists out in hip hop, it's still dominated by black and brown faces and mostly black rappers. How is it that in this immense field of people for you to listen to, you only choose the white people as the best? Sage Francis, Eminem, Eli, Idea, and Slug. A$AP Rock, LP, Brother Ali, and, you know, Grouch. I'm like, bruh, you don't see the issue with that? I don't want to call it a problem, but you don't see what's happening there. So no, I don't hate that I have white fans. That's not the point. Me doing this album with 316 was trying to get more black fans. A Public Enemy show in the 90s. Like when I grew up going to Hyro and Tribe Called Quest, white people weren't the majority, but there were white kids there. Public Enemy, there are white, and when I see the concerts, you know, and like Fear of a Black Planet was a favorite album. The only person I could discuss it with at the time was my best friend who was white. I lived in a white, I'm okay, and I'm used to listening to rap with white people. I just want to make sure that I'm not neglecting people who look like me, as I was being accused of in my community of, oh, I just want white fans. And that's not true. Coming up, we'll talk about LA video and certain things, but certain artists in the black community, larger black artists will look at my shows and go, man, you have a pop audience. And they wanted that. They wanted to cross over. They're like, I want more white people at my shows. Some of the higher up, like R&B artists I was sitting with, and when I was on Warner Brothers and shit, I just wanted to make sure I have a message for people who look like me, who have a struggle similar to mine. And I want to do my best to get it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to diss. Like, I have a problem. I had a problem. I'm going to say I had a problem with Dead Prez saying cracker in his music.
Who shot Biggie Smalls? If we don't get them, they gon' get us all. I'm down for running up on them crackers in they city hall.
I don't like to insult white Americans. I don't want to be at odds with white Americans, even though I am. I don't want to be with the majority of, with the government, with the way with white supremacy. I have a huge problem. But I don't want to be, I'm at odds with white supremacy. I'm not at odds with white Americans. And there's a distinction. And especially when my white friends or brothers and sisters can know that they're at an advantage and see how we can work together. But there's a lot of work, as we go back to the house analogy I made earlier, there's a lot of work that has to be done within the Black community by Black people. There's a lot of work that has to be done within the white American community with white people before we can go forward as just Americans without the imaginary like race thing. Because really we're Africans and Europeans living in America on stolen land. There's so much for us to get together and talk about and discuss once we're at peace with what's going on in our separate communities. And it's not segregation. I just feel like when I made the NASCAR analogy, if I grew up in rural Florida working on cars and I'm Black or I'm white, our experiences would be a little different. But if I had an opinion on NASCAR then, that'd be great. But as a kid that grew up in urban America, just getting into NASCAR, I don't feel like I can go in and change the rules and that, no matter how familiar I get and how much I learn the sport. I didn't grow up in this sport. This sport isn't in me. Now, if you come from 4 generations of racing, like my son races go-karts at a Black-owned place and white, if you race go-karts in here, you know Troy Adams racing. Troy and his family have been racing. There's white people, Black people that work there. Everybody goes there to race go-karts. Troy's, an exception. He's an anomaly or, a pioneer, if you want to put it that way. But he has a valid opinion when it comes to racing. I don't. And I think there are, white kids that are listen, but most of my white friends who do have the ability and the background to speak won't. But hip hop is not that generational yet. We talked about soul samples. Like a lot of this shit, y'all didn't grow up on the sound, the funky drummer break that made the foundation for a lot of hip hop that people in my genre love. Funky drummer wasn't played in your house growing up. Your parents weren't allowed to go to James Brown's shows or buy those records. These are race records that we're sampling, so to speak. So it's not in you, it's on you. And when you tell me what's hip hop and what's not, or when you say this rapper doesn't have the right to say that because it's bad for whatever, I hear you, but fall back a little bit. That's a valid point. Of course, we already know it. There's tons of Black rappers speaking out about it. Let me work on this. I know I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach it, and we still haven't figured out the best way to approach it. But I can sit and listen. But when you speak with authority and you raise your voice in the house of hip hop is when I have a problem. You buying more Grouch CDs than me, going to Grouch shows, I can't take offense to that. I got to rock with that. I got to be grateful that you still are aware of my music and stream it sometimes and you like bad. Like, I'm grateful. But I can't not speak on what's happening. I want you aware of what's happening. Like, why? If you have a good reason, why is that? And the great reason is I don't listen to a lot of gangster rap. White people I meet who don't listen to gangster rap at all, and their top 5 rappers are white because they can't relate, that's fine. But when your top 5 is all white and you still listen to Dipset and you dance to Cash Money and you sing Ghost Shawty, It's Your Birthday and Many Men, and you have all these favorite 50 Cent songs, that's my problem. When you won't only celebrate Black men doing ignorant shit, but when it comes to the shit that you allow to affect your life and that you hold in high regard, oh, this is what I get drunk to, this is what I smoke weed to, this is what I lift weights to, it's not what I love. That's when I think you should start to question yourself. But if you don't listen to any of it, and like, yeah, I get it. If you only like Aesop Rock and Anti-Con and whatever, and you're not even aware of, like, I have a homie that's not even, like, he was like, you got to tell me about the Blueprint. I missed that because I was too busy listening to underground rap because I don't relate. What part of selling crack and busting caps on motherfuckers do I relate to? So I just stayed away from it. I respect that wholeheartedly. It's the people, I grew up with a kid who went from selling weed with me to a white kid to, criticizing black music and black people, and we do it together, and I thought that was okay. And then seeing him in the club, coked out, doing, banging Dipset as we drifted apart from being friends. And then someone showed me his Facebook the other day, and he just really went full white American. And that shit gets me. That shit gets me. I have non-black friends that have gone on to be lawyers and work in the community and do good work. White friends, and but that one, like that, and that's the type of person. There's many of those people. Those are the ones that get me. But I have no problem with the other side. I've gone on too long. It's a touchy subject. I don't have the right point of view. This is just my point of view. I do not hate or want anyone not to listen to my music. Listen, and then come back with a critique, or get mad and leave, and then we have no growth. But this is art. If it's provoking, even podcasting, this is me breaking down art. This is art history, so to speak. If you have something to say, fucking write me a DM, an email. Like, get on my neck about it. I disagree. I blah, 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 blah. Great. That's where we're growing and we're having discourse. This is not, I present my point strongly, and I'm learning that puts people off. But I present my point strongly because that's how I make my living. I can't be a non-confident rapper. Being convicted when I speak is part of my job description. I can't excel in my profession without it. That doesn't mean, however, it's hard for me to dial it back, so I just have to give that statement. Like, that doesn't mean I'm not open to growing or being wrong or compromising or any of that. Have a good one. I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for listening to the Best Rapper in LA podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing on Spotify, Apple, wherever it is. If you like the show, leave a review on Apple Music or Spotify. And to support the podcast directly, go to patreon.com/MURS316, Murs316. See y'all next week. Peace.